So speaking about the synapse, okay, and this is basically an area of connection. You can describe it as a functional connection or communication between a neuron and another cell. Okay. Another cell that it is signaling specifically. All right, so there's some type of communication happening between this neuron and the other cell, which is usually another neuron, but we can have communications to other types of cells as well. We'll talk about what those are and how the name changes at that junction. Okay, so it's basically a form of communication or connection between a neuron. We can describe two types of synapses. We have chemical synapses, which we'll speak about mostly. Right, so they can be chemical versus electrical. And chemical is going to be the one that we're most concerned with. Electrical we will speak a little bit about, but not too much. And then let's kind of illustrate what that looks like in terms of that functional connection. So we've got the cell body of one neuron. So that's the soma here. We've got the axon of this neuron and the axon terminal. And then we have another neuron that is communicating here. And the axon of that second neuron. And then we've got some type of tissue in question. Right. So the first neuron, this first communicating neuron, is called the presynaptic neuron. The second communicating neuron is called the postsynaptic neuron. And we're going to call this the target cell. Okay. All right. So in this communication, this series of neurons speaking to each other, this specific area is what we call the synapse. So this is the synapse. Functional area of communication. We can also talk about what types of tissues are here as these target cells. This is going to be muscle. We'll talk about what kinds of muscle, but any type of excitable muscular tissue. Glands is another example here. And then we can talk about adipose tissue as well. And we'll get on to speak more about this part of the communication, but this junction here is usually named differently according to the type of tissue that it's targeting. So this can be either the neuromuscular junction or the neuroeffector junction. And again, we'll talk more details about that communication. Okay, now we can also delineate between the central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system here. So anything beyond this synapse to synapse communication is called the peripheral nervous system. And anything proximal to this second neuron is called the central nervous system. And this really includes the brain and the spinal cord, whereas everything outside of that is peripheral nervous All right, so the area that we're really going to be speaking about today is this communication, this connection between one neuron and a second neuron.